All right, we're going to start in our cross-legged position. So whatever you choose, either easy pose, Sukhasana, or you can do heel to pelvis, heel to front of the ankle. So I'll let you find your comfortable position. And happy Wednesday. Happy first day out of the polar vortex. Gosh, what a nightmare. And so I think it took until probably day 6 or 7 for it to really start to hit my heart space of what we were all going through with the temperature, and also being in a pandemic was just a new twist. In our house, we like to say plot twist when something wild and weird and unexpected happens. So we'll kind of use that to open up our theme today. So we'll start sitting in your cross-legged position, beginning to tap into the breath, breathing down into the belly, in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth, whatever feels natural and comfortable for you. Hands can be resting gently on the knees. Maybe you cup palm and palm right at the root in your lap. If you're feeling reflective, maybe you take hands to the heart space and bow the head slightly. And to start deepening your breath, making your exhales longer than your inhales. Deepening that relaxation response in the muscles. Remember, the longer that we're exhaling, the longer we're pressing our diaphragm up against the heart space, the longer we're lowering that blood pressure. So while you continue to deepen your breath, I'm going to tell you a little story about my morning. And I thought it played beautifully into this day and this practice. So I woke up late, not exceptionally late, like we were going to be late to school or anything, but just later than I would like to. I didn't have a chance to shower or do my own practice in the morning. And the girls felt that, my 2 girls, and they were just nasty this morning. I mean, on at least 3 separate occasions, I stopped and put my eyes up to the sky, just asking for a moment, turning back to my breath. And I went upstairs for a moment alone in the bathroom while the girls were screaming downstairs at each other. And I had a thought that said, well, this wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have been so tired. This is what you get for not being on top of it. And I shocked myself. I was shaming myself for needing sleep, for my body being tired. And I was also blaming myself for, number one, the negative behavior of my children, And number two, thinking that esoterically I had done something wrong to deserve that kind of stress in the morning. And I instantly heard Brene Brown's voice in my head. And she said, "You did something bad, but you are not bad. I did something bad, but I am not bad." And that's one of our household mantras. So I want to offer that to you. Take it if it resonates with you. If it doesn't, go ahead and leave it, and we'll just work with our bodies today. But I would invite you to turn your attention to some loving kindness towards yourself. It's a hard thing to do. We give love to our children and our partners and our parents and our siblings and our families and our friends and our work. But when it comes to giving love to ourselves and being kind with ourselves, that is somehow an incredibly difficult thing to do. I did something bad, but I am not bad. We're still deepening the breath, inhaling through the nose. The story ends with us getting in the car, grunts and huffs and eye rolls and all. And the moment we leave the driveway, Taylor Swift's "Shake It Off" comes on, and we blast the music and dance together. And it helped remind us all to shake it off. We don't have to stay in a negative place. And that movement, dance, yoga, walking, running, is the most proven and significant way to take ourselves out of those stress cycles. I will give you another minute in your meditation. Let's take one more big inhale together. And a long extended exhale, emptying the lungs. At the end of your exhale, if your hands are not on the knees, we'll drop the hands down to the knees. We're going to start with warming up the spine. So this is a part of yoga that we have not practiced together, but a simple introduction to some moves that are usually incorporated in what we call Kundalini yoga. So we're going to have hands on the knees, chest shifts. So when we shift belly button and chest, so we're moving from the core towards the right knee. We lean forward, bending from the hips stay nice and heavy, and we round the chest through center, bringing it over to the left, and then we arch the back like we do in our cat-cows, dropping the chin to create a full circle, and we find ourselves back leaning over our right knee. So I'll show you one more time. So we shift to the right to begin. Shoulders drop down away from the ears. Shoulder blades are pinched together, so we're nice and tall. We bend at the hips, leaning forward, coming over the right knee. Chest, heart space shifts through center. And as soon as we get over the left knee, we start to round through the back, dropping the chin, creating a full circle. And we go again, chest through center, belly button comes over the left thigh, and we start to concave the spine, drop the chin as we complete our circle. So keep this going. Maybe you pick up the pace a little bit if that feels good. If you're wondering how to sync up the breath here, you'll inhale as you're coming through center, leaning forward. And when you come around the back of the circle, dropping the chin, we exhale. Do one more on this side, beginning on the right. And when you complete your circle, we're going to go back in the other direction. So we're going to go along the back edge of the circle, then belly and chest comes over the left as we slide through center. Belly button comes over the right thigh, chest over knee as we round through. Inhale. Exhale, chin drops on the back of your circle. Do one more round here. Inhale through the center. Exhale, we complete the circle and gently we rise back up to our cross-legged seated position. Excellent. Arms are going to come out wide laterally. So we've got a nice T. Palms are facing up to the sky. Then fingertips are going to come to the tops of the shoulders. So we're bending at the elbows. Shoulders are dropping down away from the ears. We're going to twist from the entire spine. So, you know, ballerinas, when they do their spins, their head like stays with their spine. That's how we're going to move here. So we're going to shift belly button over to the right. Head comes with us. Back through center, over to the left. Okay. So I'll sync you up with the breath. So we inhale at center. Exhale, we twist to the right. Now, usually we inhale in stillness and we use our exhale to flow. So this is a little bit different. We inhale to come back through center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale over to the right. Now, you can pick up the pace a little bit. Moving more as a flow, you're going to start to feel your breath be like, what is it doing? It's going to come quicker. These should be short, more forceful breaths. Arms stay nice and strong. Five more seconds, stick with it. And come back to center, dropping the hands to the knees. We inhale, sit up nice and tall. Shoulders drop down away from the ears. You may start to feel a little heat rising through the body as we wake up that energy that runs along the spine, the Kundalini energy. Big inhale together and exhale. We're going to roll through our ankles, coming onto all fours, bringing some movement into our warm-up. When you get there, you know what to do. Shoulders over wrists, hips right over the knees, tops of the feet are pressing down into the mat, or if it's more comfortable, you can always curl the toes under. We're doming through the chest cavity, belly button is tight up to the spine, gaze is straight down. We jump right into our cat-cow. So inhale, belly drops, chest open. Exhale, we round through, belly button, or excuse me, tailbone tucks to belly button, crown drops to the ground. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, round through. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, we round through. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, we round through. This time we're coming back to tabletop position. Right leg is shooting out long, almost like we're gonna rise up into plank, but we're not. So left foot stays where it's at. Right leg comes up and over the left foot off the left side of the mat. As we inhale, and on the exhale, we turn over our left shoulder, looking at our right foot. We're spiking the right heel way back in space. Knee is engaged on the right leg. And exhale, we bring it back to center. Left leg shoots out long this time. Up, bend over. Inhale, and on the exhale, we turn to look at the right foot, or excuse me, the left foot over the right shoulder. Exhale, we come back to center. Hips bump over to the left as we turn to look at the right side of our mat. Exhale draws us back through center. Hips bump over to the right. Exhale, back through center again. Hips bump over to the left as we turn to look over the right shoulder. Exhale draws you back through center. Right hips over to the right. We look over the left shoulder. Exhale brings us back to tabletop. We're going to thread the needle, but we're going to stay with our hips high. So in classes past, we've threaded the needle with our hips down in extended child's pose. Today, we're going to stay up nice and tall. So we inhale, right arm swings open. We press away from the mat with the left hand so that we're pressing out of that shoulder joint and not dumping our weight into it. And on the exhale, right hand is swinging underneath the left armpit as we drop the right shoulder, right ear down onto the mat. Adjust your left hand in whatever way feels good. So you can have it squared off at the elbow right by your face. You can extend the left arm out long towards the front of your mat, maybe keeping up on the fingertips. Or you can always take a bind behind the back with the left hand. So you can either keep it right on the small of the back, opening the chest that way, or you can wrap the hand all the way around, bringing the left palm to rest on the top of the right thigh. We're pressing into the feet to keep our foundation strong, keeping the hips right above the knees. And we are encouraging stability in that right shoulder by pressing down through the top of the right hand. One more inhale and exhale here. The end of your exhale, we use our left hand to press into the ground, rising and unraveling. We take it to the other side. Inhale, left arm swings out. And on the exhale, we drop left arm underneath the right armpit, dropping the left shoulder, left ear down onto the mat. And then choose your arm placement. And it's okay if you play around with that arm. You don't have to stick with what you previously chose. You are allowed to change your mind. And on the exhale, we press back up to tabletop. Hands walk out slightly in space towards the front of the mat. We curl the toes under. We stay for the inhale, and on the exhale, which feels our movement, we bring hips up high, coming into downward facing dog. Ooh, my low back is so tight today. If yours is tight as well, go ahead and bend the knees so that we're able to keep the hips up high without compromising the shape and fluidity of the spine. Ears are right by the biceps. Belly button is tucked up to the spine, protecting the low back. We're strong through our fingertips, and the meaty part of the hand between the forefinger and thumb. If you want to take a few moments to pedal it out, straightening one leg and bending the other. Maybe looking under one armpit and then the other. Let's stay for one more breath cycle here, really letting the blood pressure come down, the low back release. And on our exhale, we'll either walk, step, or hop up to Uttanasana, our forward fold at the top of the mat. So however you want to get there is up to you. In whatever way you choose, do it kindly. When we get there, hands can come to the tops of the feet. Maybe you take a finger bind with the big toe. If you have spent some time on your mat and you want to bring toe to wrists, so hands underneath the soles of the feet. Or you know what, even if you haven't spent a lot of time on your mat, you're like, man, that looks interesting and fun. I'm going to be kind to myself by being curious and see what I can do. Go ahead and do it. We're taking big inhales here, really allowing that release in the body. So taking a lot of inversions where we're bringing the head below the heart space is a great way when we have a short amount of time to really reap a lot of the relaxation benefits of a longer practice. Beautiful. We are going to bend the left leg, straighten the right leg. Right hand is going to come right next to the outside of the left foot. If that feels impossible, you can stay up on the fingertips too. And then with right leg straight, hips staying squared off to the front of the mat, crown drops down to the earth. We're going to reach the right arm over off the left side of the mat. Press down firmly through the left foot, so we are encouraging that knee to stay right over the ankle. Hips stay squared off to the front of the mat, so we're not twisting here, but we are bringing the side body stretch, which is reaching down into the right low back, wrapping around down into the hamstring. Inhale for one more breath. Exhale, we release back to center, bending that right leg along with the left. And we take it to the other side. So we're going to straighten the left leg. Right hand comes right next to the outside of the right foot, or you can stay up on the fingertips. Left hand comes over off the right side of the mat. So for the head space, it's almost as if your bicep is right on the forehead. Exhale, release back to center and root to rise. We slowly roll up to mountain. Arms come with us up overhead. Left hand grabs the right wrist as we reach up and over towards the left. If you would like to deepen this stretch, Keeping the right leg straight, we'll come up onto the toes. Or I'm sorry, keeping the left leg straight, so no bending in the knee. We come up onto the toes of the left foot. Exhale, release back to center. Arms stay up overhead. Right hand grabs left wrist as we take it up and over towards the right side body stretch. Maybe coming up onto the right toes. Encouraging our balance, our center of gravity, but also exaggerating the stretch. Exhale, we come back to center. Arms float big at our sides, down to our hips. And we find ourselves in our traditional Tadasana, mountain. All right, so we've told the body we are going to move. We've got everything nice and warmed up, so let's go ahead and flow. So we inhale, drop the arms to come up overhead. Exhale, we bend the knees, bending at the hips, coming down into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale lifts you up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, we fold. Hands come down to the mat. You know where we're going. Left foot back, right foot back, top of a plank, Balankhasana. We inhale, exhale, we shift forward onto the toes, bend the elbows as we lower down halfway, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, we flip the toes so the tops of the feet are against the mat, open the chest wide, pressing into the fingertips and the hand. Inhale, exhale, hips up high, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale for one breath, exhale sends you up to the top of the mat, and we roll right back up to Tadasana. Palms come together, descending at the heart space. Here we go. Arms go down to come up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale lifts you up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Left foot back, right foot back. Inhale to shift forward, exhale to lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Elbows are tight against the side body. Inhale, toes flip, we open the chest. Upward facing dog. Exhale, we lift from the center. Rolling through the ankle, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, sends you up to the top of the mat. And we roll. Palms kiss together, up overhead. I'll let you flow. We're gonna go for, let's say 5. 5's a good number today. 5 more rounds here. And curiosity is kindness. Trying new things is kind. Giving yourself permission to have a fuller, more diverse human experience. So if you are going through your flow and you're like, man, I think I want to try something new, you can close your eyes. You can do a 3-legged Chaturanga Dandasana. You can bring a back bend into your mountain. Maybe you simply try it with your eyes closed. See, you can build that trust. The trust with yourself, the trust with your practice, and with your mat, because your mat's always going to be there for you. Maybe you try a hop from your downward dog up to mountain. Last round, palms descend at the heart space, arms go down to come up. Exhale, we fold. Uttanasana, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Top of the plank, Balangasana, inhale, exhale, lower, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, chest opens, upward facing dog. Exhale. Hips up high, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We stay in downward dog for 3 breath cycles. Big, long exhale. And we drop the knees to the mat. Big toes come together, knees open wide. And we sink hips back onto the heels. Extended child's pose. You're really tight in the armpits, the outsides of the shoulders, maybe back into the shoulder blades. With your hands extended out towards the front of the mat, maybe come up onto the fingertips. So bringing this deeper flexion into the wrists, lengthening those muscles surrounding the chest, the upper back, the armpits, the upper arms, biceps, and triceps. On your next exhale, we walk the hands off the left side of the mat just for 2 breaths. Side body stretch. Encouraging the growth of the lung space by giving attention to the intercostal muscles, which can sometimes restrict our breath. Exhale through center, we take it to the other side. Exhale and come back through center and bring ourselves up onto all fours. Knees come underneath the hips. We step the left foot back, then the right foot back. We find ourselves in plank. Gaze is straight down. We inhale. On the exhale, we're bringing right foot up in between the hands. So if it's easier to get there with that knee down, or if it's easier to get there from downward facing dog, that's fine too. Pick your poison, as they say. Otherwise, we'll all bring our right foot up between the hands so we find ourselves in low lunge. Once you're here, we're going to drop the knee of the back leg down onto the ground, flip the foot so it's flush with the mat, and we find ourselves in a true low lunge or runner's lunge. So knee is right above the ankle. We're pressing down into the triangle of our foot. We're pressing down firmly through the back foot, the top of the foot for our foundation. If that still feels really unstable, you can come up onto the toes, that's fine. And if you have any problems to where this feels uncomfortable, you can come up and lift that back leg, or if you just want more of a challenge today, you can do that too. So we're here in our low lunge. You should be feeling this compression in the front of the right hip, maybe swinging around to the side of the glutes. We're feeling this big stretch in the front of the left hip, the groin, right down into the top of the thigh. If you're not feeling that, or you feel like you should be feeling more than you are, walk the back leg back in space. Gaze is forward. We're light on the fingertips. Excellent. Left hand comes down right next to the right arch. We inhale, right arm swings up and open. Gaze is up towards the sky, or you can keep it right out in front of you. Exhale, right hand floats down to replace the left as we open, left arm up to the sky. Firm, firm, firm through the feet. That's going to keep you from falling over. One more inhale here. Exhale, left hand comes down to replace the right as the right comes to frame the back or frame the right foot. We curl the toes of the back feet under if they're not already, and we lift our hips up and over this kind of imaginary line here. As we sink the hips back towards the left heel, we straighten the right leg, right toes come up to the sky. You can stay here. If you have blocks in your practice, you can always bring the ground up to you by bringing in blocks. Otherwise, we'll keep hands on the outside or inside and outside of the right leg. Gaze is forward, or if it's in your practice and you have the range to bow, crown, forehead towards the midline, half pyramid. We inhale for one more breath. Exhale, rolls us forward. We're going to bring right arm up, forearm to the top of the right thigh. If this is not something that you feel comfortable with, don't feel that you have to do it. But if you want to bring a block here for stability, that's great. If you have a strap or like a bathrobe, you know what I'm saying. And you want to use that today, that's fine too. Otherwise, we're all going to lift the back foot. Maybe you just stay here. Maybe just simply lifting that back foot is enough for you. Or maybe we reach around, clasping onto the toes or the inner arch. If we do that, we turn our gaze back forward. Hips and shoulders are squared off to the front of the mat. So we've got this external rotation in the left shoulder, opening up this side of the chest. Shoulder blades are melting down the back. We're pressing down firmly into the right foot. We're here for 2 more breaths. And exhale, we gently release with control. Hands come back down to frame the right foot. We lift the knee of the back leg so that we can transition to the other side. We inhale, and on the exhale, moving from the hip and your center, we draw the right foot back to meet the left. Good job. Take a little rest if you need to. And then again, you can get there from here. You can get there from knee down, or if you need to get there from downward facing dog, that's great too. Otherwise, we'll bring the left foot up in between the hands. We drop the right knee down to the ground or the back knee down to the ground. Foot either flips to be flush against the mat, or you can keep the toes curled. Knee is right over the ankle. So you've got a little bit of range to play with here, kind of like when we come into chair. You've got this space from the ankle till about like the base of where the toes start to where you're in a safe zone. So if you do have the range to kind of lean forward a little bit and that feels good, that's fine. Just don't bring the knee beyond the base of the toes. We're light on the fingertips, gazes forward, low lunge, runner's lunge. We're breathing down into the front of that right hip, the right groin. Breathing into the compression in the front of the left hip. We're firm in our foundation. Right hand comes right next to the left arch. We inhale, left arm swings up towards the sky. One more inhale here. And exhale, left hand drops, replaces the right. We swing right arm up and open. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, we float right hand down to replace the left as the left hand comes back to the outside of the left foot. We curl the toes of the back foot under, and we lift the hips up and over this imaginary line as we sink the hips back to the right heel, left leg straightens, toes up towards the sky. If that really is too much, you can always keep that left knee bent, still extending the toes up towards the sky. If your hamstrings are just like, heck no, there's no way. And remember, you can always bring blocks here to build the ground up to you. So if you're doing this later on or want to go through this practice again, gaze is either forward or we bow forehead to knee. We're here for one more breath. And on the exhale, we roll right through that ankle, coming back into our low lunge. Left forearm comes up to the left thigh as we lift that back foot with control. Maybe this is enough for you. Maybe you have a strap that you want to wrap around the front of the foot. Or we reach behind us. Feel free to look to find your way, and then turn your gaze back towards the front of the mat, deepening that stretch. In the right quad, we're externally rotating the right shoulder, pressing down firmly into the left foot. Hips are squared off to the front of the mat. We're here for one more breath. If you fall, that's okay. Your mat will catch you, and you will say something loving and kind to yourself and try again. On the exhale, we gently release, back foot back down to the ground. Hands come to frame the left foot as we bring ourselves out. So we're lifting the back knee, moving from the hip socket and the core to bring our left foot back to meet the right. When you get here, we'll stay for an inhale, and on the exhale, we drop the knees down to the mat. We're going to come to a seated position on our bums. So I like to get here by crossing ankle over ankle and rolling through backwards, but feel free to just swing the legs off to the side as well, coming onto the bum. When you get there, we're kicking legs out long, and we're sitting up nice and tall. Hands can be either on the tops of the thighs or down by your hips. We're pressing down firmly through the ankles and the tops of the thighs for stability. We're lifting up out of the pelvis. Spine is nice and long. Staff pose, Dandasana. On your next inhale, we're going both arms up, overhead, and on the exhale, we're bending from the hips. So we're shifting that pelvis back in space as we bring belly, chest, forehead down towards the knees, thighs. If this is uncomfortable for you, or you feel like you're rounding too much in your spine, you can always bend the knees and aim to shoot that belly towards the thighs before you drop head towards the knees, crown to the earth. Excellent. On your exhale, we'll slowly roll up to a seated position. We bring the legs cross to our seated cross-legged position. Again, I'll turn towards you. If you have time for a Shavasana today, resting in supine with the legs extended long towards the front of the mat, that's great. But we'll end our practice today by bringing hands together at the heart, and let's bow our heads together, dropping chin to chest. And if that feels too reverent, too much like praying, turn your attention instead to the sensation in the back of the neck and that great stretch that you're getting through the neck, the upper shoulders, maybe even down into the erectors along the spine. Let's take 3 more breaths together. Last one, make it count. And we'll end our practice by thanking ourselves, genuinely thanking ourselves for showing up today, showing up for ourselves. You did a good thing. And remember, we do bad things sometimes, but we are not bad people. Thanks for practicing with me today, and I will see you hopefully on Friday.